Hello everyone, it's Melinda here with CatSmashPuzzles, and today we are doing the third and final video of the World Series that took place in Munich, Germany in May of this year. So, we are now at round 5 and 6, which are the Gibson rounds. So we have gone through all 3 Ravensburger rounds, and then the unbox challenge with the capybaras, and as I was a little disappointed with round 4, I knew it was going to be a bit difficult. I'm now going into the Gibson rounds with a little more positive insight because this is kind of where I shine. I'm not the best, I'm not an expert at Ravensburger, and I do think that actually has to be something you have to be in that top group of the World Championship, World Series. In that group, basically, you've memorized some of the Ravensburger cut. And I have not done that, so I think that that's why I'm not quite at that top tier regarding Ravensburger. However, my techniques, my speed adapt well to other brands and other types of puzzles like round and possibly panoramic here when I do it. So, these are Gibsons, and the first one is a round puzzle, so this is now challenge 5, and this one is called Postcard Globe. So another photographic puzzle. And it's kind of a grid, so grids tend to be a little bit easier, and it's a lot of different photos, but there's a lot of blue going on here. So this will be a little bit of a challenge, I think. But I do think that it's not going to be too difficult. I'm coming off the U.S. Nationals, doing very well with the final puzzle with the round 1, Bowbridge Beauty, and so I feel pretty confident about the round puzzle. And then we have the 6th round, which this is going to be a bit of a challenge for me because I have never done a panoramic puzzle, specifically a Gibson's 636-piece puzzle, panoramic. And so again, kind of like the unboxed, I wasn't 100% sure how I would do. And this one is called Munchable Munich Hearts, which I think are very specific to Munich, Germany, and I think that was kind of the World Series host nod to the hosting city. And it's very colorful and pretty, but it's another photograph, and I think a lot of people practiced painting style panoramics, which is what I think Gibson does a lot of. And so I think the photo was definitely a surprise to a lot of people. And, it looks kind of difficult because you got 2 pink hearts here. You kind of got these, ribbon stripes up here, and then it's kind of this blurry section to the right. So, I do think that's going to be a bit of a difficult puzzle, and based on the times I saw from the competition, I figured that the hour 10 was going to be a bit of a lofty goal for me, because almost all the puzzlers except the top 75 out of 334 did not finish this in the hour and a half allotted time. I don't know if I mentioned it, but all the 500-piece puzzles had a 75-minute time, or an hour and 15 minutes. The time limits were a little bit less than what Nationals and even Worlds have been putting, so they figured World Series top-tier puzzlers, a shorter time limit should be kind of a goal, basically. So when I saw a picture of it when I was trying not to see it, I kind of knew this was going to be a hard one. Hour 10 is going to be a lofty goal for getting that one completed. My goal for this one was 45 minutes or less because it's a 500-piece puzzle. And this one's a 636-piece puzzle, so I figured the hour 10, it evens out to the 5-hour mark was where I'm trying to go for if I had stuck with 45 minutes or less for all my 500-piece puzzles. Will I make it under the hour 10? Possibly. Will it be my best place yet for the circle puzzle? Possibly. Well, the final 2 rounds of the World Series. Let's smash it. Well, let's just say I was kind of shocked with my results for these two puzzles. So this was Postcard Globe from Gibson's 500-piece puzzle, round challenge, and this was Munchable Munich Hearts Panoramic Gibson's 636-piece puzzle. And honestly, this went as well. I mean, it didn't quite hit my goals, I'll be fair. But it went rather well for what they were. So, let's start with Challenge 5, the round puzzle. I completed this in 48 minutes and 55 seconds, which would have gotten me 28th place. So now this is now my highest ranking in the individual rounds. And I can tell you right now, my round puzzle, I wouldn't say I'm an expert at round puzzles, but they don't throw me off as much. That definitely played a part in how well I ended up on this puzzle. And so, it was a lot of blue. There was parts of it that kind of delayed me. I kind of couldn't figure out where some of these pictures went. I didn't start on the border either on this one, so now that's 2 in a row I haven't done the border on. And so, it worked out for this versus the unbox where it didn't work out. So I do think that the circle puzzle is a little bit easier for me to distinguish. But ultimately, I honestly had a lot of fun with it. There was a bit of a glare on this puzzle, and it also was on the panoramic as well for Gibson's. So again, that might have been a bit harder to distinguish in the competition with the lighting that wasn't as well. But, I mean, I have 2 lights here that can cause glare, so I kind of tried to simulate it a little bit, but again, it wasn't too bad. I did see this puzzle, beforehand. I didn't study it, so I didn't know where all the specific pictures were, but I did see that it was a globe photo, and it was like, okay. Wasn't too concerned with it, just a lot of blue, and I kind of really just started, I flipped all the pieces and then just started on the green section here with the plants, and things that just stood out. Once I figured out where a lot of things went, it came together pretty quickly. So, some stats on this puzzle. This was the round puzzle, and the top 3 were under 40 minutes. So, for a rounder puzzle, if I can get into that 40-minute mark, I'm golden. Top 11 were under 45, so I just missed the top 10 by a couple minutes. And then the top 32 were under 50 minutes, and I would have been in that top 32. So, if I could just push my round puzzle, expertise a little bit here, I would be in the top when it comes to non-Ravensburger rectangular puzzles. So, I'm pretty happy. I was exhilarated, especially after that unboxed result that I got. So now I've done the 5 500-piece puzzle rounds. I've added up my time, and I need to figure out how fast it's going to take me for this puzzle to be under the 5-hour mark. Which means I have to do this one in 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 36 seconds. That's going to be hard to do. And I kind of knew that going in, and I kind of realized this puzzle is going to go be a disaster, and I'm going to be well over my 5-hour goal, or I'm going to be close. Kind of like I've always been, just on the edge of things. And it's like, okay, we'll see how this goes. And I finished this in 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 33 seconds, which is, I am extremely happy with. I know it wasn't the hour 10 I wanted, it wasn't the hour 7 I needed for the 5 hours, but this puzzle was very difficult for most of the people at the World Series. 3/4 of them didn't finish it, and honestly, I actually kind of enjoyed it, except for the pink frosting. That one drove me a little bit bananas, but otherwise I kind of enjoyed the puzzle. It was difficult in sections, I will give you that. I started on the border on this, because I had never done a panoramic puzzle this size, and I figured I need to have the border. I need a starting area for me to figure out how long this puzzle is, how tall it is. And unfortunately, some of the black pieces, I ended up false sitting, and they were on the wrong side of the border, so I had like a couple black pieces that should have been on the other side. And so that, I think, cost me 5 or 6 minutes until I figured it out and fixed it, because I kind of had the puzzle a bit too tall at one point, and I was thinking there was a bigger gap of pieces I was missing than there should have been. So that was, I think, my biggest mistake with this puzzle. I just had a couple false fits that on the border that just ultimately slowed me down enough to where I think if I had had that fixed, I would have been in that hour 10 mark. But otherwise, it went well. I felt like I was grooving along with it. This section here, the blurry, I was a little worried about. It was okay. I did wait till the end to do it. I do think the route was to wait the pink frosted at the end, but I did not do that. I kind of did it second to last. The blue was easier, the green was very easy, the stripes on the top were alright, and then this green cookie to the side was, I would say, the most easiest. So, where would that have put me? My hour 14, 33-minute time? 23rd place, which is now my highest round ranking if I were to have been at the World Series. Super thrilled with that, super happy with that result. Honestly, I do think that that was probably the most realistic time I could have placed with this puzzle. I do think that, because everybody else had a hard time with it, and I sort of just kind of come up to the challenge. My skills and my speed just aren't as impacted as much. I think that, again, more people did worse than me, and so my ranking goes up. And I think that that's kind of the story I keep repeating. I do well with harder puzzles, and therefore I do much higher in ranking. I don't do as well with easier puzzles, or puzzles that most people are experts at, like Ravensburger or Gradients, and my ranking kind of shows it. Now, what I have learned is that unboxed is a bit of a problem for me, so something I need to practice. Real quick, some stats on the panoramic puzzle. The first place person got it under the hour. Top 11 got it under hour 10, so that would have been really nice to be in the top 10. And the top 23 got it under the hour 15, which is where I landed. So that was the panoramic puzzle. Now, I have all 6 of my times. What was my final accumulation time, and where would I have placed in the World Series between 334 competitors? My total time was 5 hours, 6 minutes, and 51 seconds. So almost 7 minutes slower than what I wanted to, but that is extremely close. I was very much in that realm of where I estimated my time would be, and that would have put me in 41st place. I can't complain with those results, honestly. And I do think it was mostly due to the panoramic puzzle here. This was so hard for so many competitors that if you actually had finished the puzzle, you were higher than most, and therefore you're, again, this is accumulation of 6 rounds of time. If it took you an hour and, you didn't finish it, so you only had an hour and a half to do it, and then you had, 200 pieces still left, each piece is a 5-second penalty, so that adds up, and you had some people over the 2-hour mark with that time penalty. And so that completely ruins your accumulation time. So I think the panoramic really did reflect, who's the stronger puzzler overall, because, everybody can do a Ravensburger and 500 piece in under 40 minutes if you're a super fast puzzler. Not everybody can do a 636 piece puzzle in an hour and a half. That's a photograph of frosting and cookies. So that's what the whole point of the World Series was about, to find out who the best overall puzzler was. And if you don't know, it was Victor with, I don't have the exact time, but he did it, I think, under 3 hours and 45 minutes, which is impressive. He was the only one in this panoramic puzzle, he did it under the hour, which I also know that Boy Wonder did this puzzle, and he did it just under the hour as well. But I do think that, certain things about the World Series I really did like was that it challenged speed puzzlers with different brands, a different style. It wasn't simply all Ravensburger 500-piece puzzles. So a couple things. I would have been the 5th highest U.S. participant. There was 4 people ahead of me: Kelly, Mari, Shay, and Tiffany. So they did it a little bit faster than I did. I think Kelly would have been, was 16th. And Shay was 23rd. And Shay beat me in all the 500-piece puzzles, but I beat her in the panoramic by a couple minutes. So overall, she was faster than me. She got a lot of them under the 40-minute mark. And so, I landed where I was supposed to be as a USA member. So the overall times was the top 4 were under the 4-hour mark, where Victor took gold in 3 hours and 42 minutes, I believe. And then the top 36 were under the 5-hour mark. And so, but there was a notable difference between times between 10th and 11th place. Because between 10th and 11th, there was a 12-minute gap. And so, I think I find that very interesting. before I go on to kind of my expectations for myself moving forward, I do want to mention this puzzle here. This one is called Rainbow Rascals, and this is World Series Speed Run. So a speed run, again, is a puzzle you do multiple times over and over again until you get your fastest time. I am, again, borrowing this from Kinsey, so I'm not going to keep it very long, probably. I'm probably going to give it back to all these puzzles at the showdown. And I might do it 1 or 2 more times, but I did do it my first attempt, and I'll either show it here, or it's going to be a short for sure. But I did get my PR on this. I did this in 37 minutes and 22 seconds. So yay, got under a 40-minute time. So I was very happy about that. And I really liked how the pieces felt. It felt like this kind of glittery, what is it, like, it wasn't a glossy. It felt like it was, like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it without you seeing it, but like, it felt sparkly, like it was professionally done, like it was a beautiful Ravensburger cut that for some reason just came out really well. I don't know. I don't know if I'm describing this properly. But yeah, that is, I don't know if I can participate. I'm going to submit my time anyway because I didn't go to the World Series. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to submit my time and kind of see how it goes. But I think the fastest time is Victor right now at 26 minutes, and I think he's done it 3 or 4 times. So maybe I'll try it again, maybe see if I can get under the 30-minute mark, but I don't know. I'm already planning speed runs, other puzzles, so I don't want to do too many of those. There's too many to deal with, and there's so many puzzles I don't want to do the same one over and over again 200 times. So, what I'd like to now discuss is what I've taken away from the World Series puzzles, how I would have ranked, what I need to work on, and what I kind of see with the competition. So first things first, I say I kind of jokingly say I'm the worst, the best. I think there are 2 tiers above me. I think I'm in tier 3, which I don't know, like I'm making these tiers up as I see it, but I'm basing it off the times that are shown and how people are doing on these puzzles. And basically, I do think I'm in the 3rd tier. So I'm in the bronze tier of the super fast puzzlers. I'm in the low 40s on average. I do sneak into the top below 40s here and there. I rank roughly, especially in the US, in the top 20 without an issue. And in the world, I'm in the top 40, 50. I know I've done the World Championship puzzles and I ranked a lot lower at that time. But I think since then I've definitely improved. And I think that if I did those puzzles again, I would probably rank a lot higher. I just can't really compare my times to a first attempt versus second attempt. But I think that I'm that bronze tier. I'm in the bottom part of the best puzzlers in the world. And how I've basically determined this is that I'm very good, but I'm not the best. And what I mean by there's 2 tiers is that between 10th and 11th place, there was a 12-minute gap. And what I mean by there's a 2nd tier above me, which is I think where Shay is. I think a lot of these, Alice, Hannah D, they have they're sub 40 a lot, they're sub 35 a lot, random sub 30s here and there, but they're in that 35 to 40 minute range on average. And I'm in the low 40s on average. So I'm a little bit slower than the 2nd tier. And they also have bouts of, really good puzzles and really bad puzzles. But then there's the top gold tier. That's what I'm which is Victor, Boy Wonder from Houston. They are sub 30s, I wouldn't say regularly, but often. Sub 35s regularly. And they are an expert at Ravensburger puzzles, so they are easily under 35 minutes for Ravensburgers. I do think that, some people, I said Hannah D is silver, kind of as a general rule, but she can pop into gold. I do think if you're kind of in that silver tier, what I'm describing is you can pop into the gold here and there. But I think there is an elite group of puzzlers. There's Katiana, I think is her name. I've seen a few names pop up in the European, especially, and I saw someone, I think she was the Nordic champion, and she did the Peacock puzzle, which took me 1 hour and 45 minutes, and she did it in 43 minutes, which I have that just shocked me. I was like, how did you do that? And I looked at her video, and the way she did it, she has the cut memorized. And I think in order to be the gold tier for competition, especially when Ravensburgers are being used, you have to memorize the Ravensburger cut. And this is now something I'm going to look into. How I want to do it, I have some ideas, and the problem is you have to memorize 500 pieces, and it's not just one cut. Like, I should have looked at it before I put it away, but I do think that there's 6 or 7 different 500-piece Ravensburger cuts. And I think that it would be very difficult for me to memorize all of them. It would be a lot of studying, a lot of time. So I'm thinking of breaking this down. Maybe I can memorize the border for the Ravensburger cuts for all 7. That way the border's done a lot faster and I can just get the puzzle done quicker. I've been doing the border first, and flipping and sorting the border takes me about 4 to 4.5 minutes, and then getting the border done on a 500-piece puzzle, which is about 85 pieces on average per se, I'm at the 10-minute mark. So if I can shave off 3 minutes in the border, I'll be doing pretty good. I will be getting into that sub 40 regularly, and then I can maybe start pushing that sub 35 once that happens. Can I memorize an entire 500-piece Ravensburger cut? If I put my mind to it, yes I can. Can I memorize 7 of them? Maybe. I don't want to overdo it. And I don't think the top puzzlers have memorized all of them. I really, really, really don't. I think they memorize 1 or 2 maybe, and if they land it in competition, they do really well. If they don't quite get it, they have at least part of it memorized, and then the rest of it just gets filled in. So I do think I needed to work on my Ravensburger cut in some way. Memorize the border maybe, study Ravensburger, practice it a bit more than I actually am, and I'll get better at that. Regarding other brands like the Gibsons, like Boardwalk, all these other brands I'm doing for competition, I think I should just keep practicing different techniques. And one of the techniques I am going to be doing is using puzzle trays. I have always avoided them because I felt like they would be in the way, they would be useless. And then I started working with teams, and the trays became kind of essential, especially for a 1,000-piece puzzle. And so me and Christina Shea were doing a 1,000-piece, or a 500-piece actually, and Christina mentioned tactic, where you had all the puzzle boards in the center, and then you dumped the pieces on it. Well, we did it, and we separated them, and I started flipping the pieces, and I was about the same speed as Shea with flipping pieces. And Shea is extremely quick at flipping the pieces. So for whatever reason, the puzzle boards instinctively made me faster for some reason. I don't know why, I have no explanation. And so I haven't had a chance to use this technique just yet. I didn't want to use it in case it would mess me up, but I plan to do that in the future. I have bought a couple small puzzle trays, basically foam boards, so that they're just flat and I can slide them off. And so I'm going to utilize this technique. I'm trying to force myself to flip all the pieces and do the border first. It's very hard because it's not what I want to do. I'm a pick and place gal. I like my pick and place method, but I do think that there is a correlation of tactics that make you the fastest puzzler. And if I just resist them, I'm never going to get there. Now, do I want to be the fastest puzzler in the world? Sure. Am I ever going to be the fastest puzzler in the world? Probably not. And I'll say that as a caveat of, there's always going to be a puzzle that someone else will beat me at. You will never be the top of every single puzzle you do. Even Boy Wonder doesn't do that. Even Victor doesn't do that. You just need to be, on average, better than everybody else. There will be, I think Victor only won 3 of the rounds in the World Series, yet he took away gold. So my goal isn't to be the fastest puzzler in the world. You can't be. You can be one of the fastest, and that's where I'd like to be. But right now, I'm in the bronze tier. I need to move up to the silver tier. Jumping to gold would be a bit ambitious at this point, because I need to be averaging under 35 minutes. I'm not even averaging under 40. I'm averaging under 45, but I'm not averaging under 40. So that's my first goal. I need to work on getting myself under that 40-minute mark. Second, different tactics, practice my flipping, practice my sorting. Do things at a different, try different things. I think that that's very important. What's the saying? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting the different result is insanity. Kind of what I've been doing. somewhat. I have improved. I will say this, I have improved. But I think at this point, at this level that I'm at, the improvements are coming at very small increments. And I have to accept that. It won't be big jumps anymore. It's going to be chipping away at seconds, chipping away at a minute here, a minute there. Just slowly getting my average down. And I've got to accept that. I can't just say, oh, I should just shoot 10 minutes off my time and be under 30 minutes. Not realistic. Will there be a sub-30 first attempt? I hope so. I really do. I haven't gotten close. My PR was this guy at 37:22. I got a PR, within the last week. I think that's very, that means I'm improving. So I gotta be happy with my results here. 41st in the world would be pretty awesome. But, again, I'm not in the same environment as the competition was. So, was it completely comparable? Probably not. So, I do give it that caveat. But again, I am better in person, so I think it kind of is a wash regarding advantage versus disadvantage. So where does that leave the World Series for next year? Will I be going? Have they announced it yet? Well, they have. They have announced it's going to be in Toronto from June 2nd through the 5th in 2027. And I was excited to hear that because that's in Canada and that's not as expensive to go to versus Europe. And so I was thrilled to hear that. So I am definitely making plans to go. It's not 100% certainty yet, but we're kind of locking it down at this point. I think it's the most likely time I'll be able to go to the World Series. Now, they are doing things a bit different. They only did 6 solo rounds in this last World Series, so they are actually adding pairs and teams. So Christina and I will plan to pair up, and then Christina Shea and I will be teaming up, and we are currently looking for our 4th. We have some feelers out for a few people, and we're going to see if they work out. So my training will begin for that, probably as soon as I'm gotten through some of the other competitions. I won't be going to a lot of them between that and the World Series, probably. We'll see. I don't know nationals yet. They haven't announced it, so it's going to depend on when and where that's located. Will I be going? If not. So that's still up in the air, but the moment U.S. Nationals is announced, I'll probably put it in a video of some sort and tell you my thoughts about going or not. So that'll be a future endeavor. But that's kind of my goal. I also, again, are still doing puzzles for fun that, speed-wise anyway. I'm not doing any casual puzzles at the moment. I have the big 40,000 piece Disney one that I might start casually because I'm not timing that behemoth. I'm still doing the Zoom competitions, still going to go to local in-person competitions. So, I really enjoyed the World Series puzzles. Thank you again, Kinsey, for letting me borrow these. I had a lot of fun with them. I might try to get this guy maybe under 35 minutes on my second attempt if I do him again. Did we succeed in the World Series? Time goal, just a little bit off. But place-wise, I think we smashed it. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.